Credit systems. The purpose of our existence is not our usefulness to others. We are in service to God at all times simply through existing, and our existence is our sole work. The burdens we carry, and the joys that we experience are our real work and our true contributions to creation. We should not be measured only by our level of usefulness to the system. We should be trying to reach the goal of getting the work done without the threat of the very primitive school of thought that says that we should then be discarded and done away with once the work is completed. The other school of thought states that we should be completing the work together and that the fruits of that work are then available and accessible in service to everyone. We should not be continually measured only by our production value, but rather we should be seen as all of the aspects of creation and the various houses of God consciousness, and our right to exist should be respected, aided and guided instead of disrespected and destroyed. Automation will soon take many of our repetitive jobs. And it should. We should then have automation at our service instead of being expected to be in further servitude to the debt slave labor narrative for the benefit of the few. Even though our valuation shouldn't come from our production value alone, we still have to work to produce things and should not expect everything to be handed to us for free. But at the same time, we should expect that the system is not designed to prey upon us and produce undesirable effects in our lives. A fair balance can be reached in the valuation of things while respecting the value of individuals, their time and their right to life. The specific details of a system could be anything. Parts can change over time and parts of the system can be different in different places. There are, however, universal principles that cannot change in the system, without it then being another system, such as recognition of universal law and other things that should be inalienable rights, such as the right to shelter, which can fall into the category of respecting universal law. Various aspects of any system could be anything really. But what should not be up for debate is the right to immediate access to resources such as shelter for everyone under all circumstances. While all of those details are hashed out and changed over time, everyone should have access to basic universal rights, such as shelter, in the meantime. These are concepts for a different system that is abundance-based and more mature. A civilization that does not permit for scarcity production drama of any kind and does not allow any life to be traded away for any fake measurement fiat currency. There should be abundance everywhere, and there is no excuse for anything else, and anything else should be considered the direct and intentional production of scarcity, which should be considered a crime. It is always for the purpose of control. Even when there is more than enough for everyone, some will try to seize all energy and methods of production just to starve everyone else out. The problem is with the use of power itself. The excuse is to come up with reasons to have power over others. When everyone is producing excess abundance locally, there is never the need for that level of scarcity production drama. All they want is to issue commands, whether right or not, to gratify their power trip and to use the mob to take the resources of others. Theirs is an entire system of leaving people vulnerable to that type of predation. These are suggestions for another type of system that is in respect to universal law and is focused on producing abundance for all instead of leaving everyone impoverished. A society where command giving is seen as a criminal offense. And command giving with a weapon in your hand is a felony. The only time this rule can be contradicted is with authorization, when law enforcement is being administered for the only crime of the initiation of aggression and physical violation of another's consent. Instead of issuing commands, we may make requests of one another. The difference between commands and requests is that commands are being backed by physical violence, and with requests, if we disagree, we seek further counsel. This is the conceiving of a system where the decision-making function of government is fused into the civilian population and everyone has the ability to operate all parts of the system like a functional tool. Structures and rooms are tools, the decision-making processes of the system are tools. The system is a functional tool that should operate the same for everyone. Although there should always be a manual backup for all processes, including decision-making in the form of a decision-making percentage-based formula, we have to recognize technologies as they come to be and use them as tools to improve our conditions whenever possible. Of these tools might come apps that allow us to do many things we could not do before, from decision-making voting to the location of jobs available locally for credit. It is not always possible to measure our usefulness to others, and in many cases it is not something where it should even be attempted to be measured. You cannot measure the appreciation one may have for their family, friends or co-workers. So it is recognized that most of our contributions to others may go unrecognized by any type of system. What we can do is develop a system that allows us to work together and to show appreciation for one another by giving each other credit for the things that we do for each other, and also, but not only, for the system itself through jobs. We can work directly for the system or directly for one another, and we can be given credit whenever we do something useful for others. Our right to work should be separate from the continual re-vetting of our profile through the job application process. The use of the word credit in this system is a different application of the word and does not imply a line of debt or a loan. It is not debt-based and there is nothing to pay back. It is another application of the word. We can give credit to others whenever they do something useful for another. When a child is born, the parents are incentivized to register the birth of the child by having the child's level 1 passive income account automatically directed towards the parent's account. They can register the birth of a child simply with a hand scan and by creating their personal profile. The child's level 1 passive income of 100 credits per month would then go to the parents until the child learns to use their passive income account, at which time they can decide to continue to direct all, some or none of their passive income towards their parents. 100 credits per month may not seem like much in comparison to modern welfare, but that would be added to the residual income accounts that the parents already have, and in this case it is not welfare but an incentive. This is a system where our needs are already being met and rent and taxation are automatically deducted from our passive income. It doesn't let us spend more than we have and nothing can ever be taken away from us. This is an automation of our incentive system so that we no longer have to be bothered by them, but we can still take an entirely active role in them and advance through the system while stopping at any point without the threat of losing what we have earned. We would level up our various incentive accounts. A child would likely begin leveling up their incentive accounts early on in the form of the completion of education modules and with apprentice-level work, usually with their parents. They can earn credit for their contributions and their work just like anyone else while never being obligated or forced to work. A child can at any time convert their level 1 passive income account of 100 credits per month into a level 1 room account. Level 1 rooms cannot cost more than 100 credits per month. Higher level room accounts might require a one-time fee to activate, while a level 1 room can be activated with only 100 credits, or the equivalent of what every citizen would receive automatically each month through their level 1 passive income account. It might make sense to make the minimum transaction amount in any transaction to be 1 credit. Meaning that no transaction has the value of less than 1 credit. If needed, you could bring the amount of physical goods up to the amount equivalent to 1 credit in all transactions, or for services it can be stated that nothing is worth less than 1 credit, so that at the very least you are giving a minimum amount of credit to another for their time. Of the tools that we share should be an app that shows all available jobs on a map. Everyone has access to all jobs after completing the necessary training courses for each specific job they want to do. These courses should be available to everyone at all times. This is a task completion system where we are given credit to resolve tasks as they arise, possibly in the form of flags or other types of requests. We are not necessarily given one role or title and then expected to play that role all day. Unless we want to. Eventually we should be able to find our particular interests and get to assist in that while having the ability to do other things if we choose, or nothing at all. When tasks arise, the goal is to complete them and then to move on to other things in our personal lives, or if we choose to, we can do more tasks for additional credit. Instead of waiting at a post all day for potential business, we can complete the task and move on unless the task itself is the requirement for someone to be at that post. In which case the task completion would be to successfully be at that station for that particular duration. Within any given task, a breakdown of additional tasks that are completed for credit can be included and compensated for. It may be possible to turn in a list of completed tasks that include additional completed tasks for review to an auditor for credit. Completing a task or resolving a flag might then be like finishing a level in a video game, where you will see all of your achievements for task completion and the credit earned for the completing of each task. One of the most common jobs is that of the auditor. A side job that could be constantly available would be to virtually audit or check people's work for credit. This can be done through video or pictures, and an auditor can check many virtual flags quickly. This work can leisurely come to a very large number of people and would not require rooms of people dedicated to that task all day. There would not be that type of a rush in this system, and at worst it might cause something a little less than immediate turnaround for credit for your work. But it should still be within 24 hours as a standard. Another task is that of auditing the auditor, and so occasionally the work being audited is another auditor's work. There is virtual auditing and then there is physical auditing. You can turn the entire world into a theme park where you are paid to explore everything. All utility structures and rooms should be available to be audited for credit at any time. The length of time between audits will automatically increase the value of the audit by possibly color coding a room showing a higher value of credit with a greater intensity color on the map. Residential rooms, with consent, can but do not have to be audited while inhabited, but are up for auditing and between occupants. The official role of the auditor is to prevent corruption. After a structure is audited, additional credit can be earned for any pertinent public information dissemination or journalism. If they completed courses in journalism or public information dissemination, they can be given additional credit to write an article if necessary, and then they would receive credit for auditing and journalism along with a standard crowdsource tag for their creation, where anyone can give them additional credit at any time if they like their article or any of their other creations. This type of system can create an infinite workforce and can allow us to collectively guide our energy. Tasks can arise on a bidding system and can be up for grabs to anyone. Instead of not being able to criticize management with no accountability, decisions can be voted on collectively and management will be considered to be the highest level participant to respond. If there is no one available or interested, the bid would rise until someone claims the job. For example, on a cold winter morning when there is no one plowing the roads, a bid can be increased until someone takes the job to plow the roads. Jobs that are needed to be done can be given additional credit by people directly or through the system by increasing the base bid when needed. The infinite workforce for all tasks system should eliminate almost all waiting. Distribution centers are usually round because that creates multiple access points and should eliminate most standing in lines. We should deliberately try to reduce as many lines and as much waiting as possible in all instances. Instead of being forced to wait for the doling out of products and services, there should be an immediate response from an infinite workforce that is competing for the bid of all available work. Although we do not need currency in the same way as before, there should still be a competition for the available work to level up our accounts. There should not be an endless attempt to defer all responsibility and tasks away to someone else or to an automated message. Calls for assistance should be immediately up for grabs and answered immediately by a trained infinite workforce for every type of task. If someone calls for emergency assistance, the call is immediately answered and immediately responded to, usually by alerting the nearest qualified personnel local to the environment. That could be as close as your neighbor, and the reaction time for emergency response would be infinitely faster. The ability to create personal tasks should be as easy as a few swipes on a device. By creating personal flags for tasks, we can ask for assistance with things that the system doesn't usually recognize. For example, someone could give credit for advice or assistance with anything like helping to put together some furniture. An old lady could make a request for help across the street through the flag resolution system, and a bunch of children could come out of nearby homes to assist after receiving the alert. This is an example of the Helping Hands Task Force, a division of the Flag Resolution Department. If ongoing care is requested, a caregiver role can be requested by creating a task or a flag which can be resolved or filled by a family member or anyone else that wishes to complete the task in an ongoing position. Which leads to the concept of personal merit and how it is that we should be able to rate completed tasks, and that sometimes our personal merit rating of others can override their overall merit unless no one else is available to do the task. For example, there may be those whom we just don't get along with, and so they may carry a high merit level overall but a low merit level with us personally, so that we do not have to work with those who we do not get along with whenever possible. All tasks, or flags that represent tasks that need to be done, have the potential to earn additional value through automatic crowdsourcing. People can direct attention or energy to things they feel that need to be done or that deserve credit by putting additional credit into the pot or tag that is attached to that flag or task. This ability to automatically give credit in the form of crowdsourcing is built into all tasks, flags, and other things such as individual works, like works of art, music, or videos, for example, or just a person's profile. You could send credit to a person's profile on their birthday or just because. You could give credit to an artist who you appreciate who is now just giving away their work for free. And even things like tasks completed can still have a public or anonymous account attached to it so that they can receive credit for those completed tasks far into the future. For example, if someone finally fixed a pothole in the road, you could swipe credit to the flag that represents that task completion. You could add to the value of a task in progress to increase the chance of the job being completed sooner, or you could give credit to the task flag long after the task is completed, which would then go to whoever completed the task. This could be applied to many things and could create interest in areas otherwise not noted by present systems. The people can then show appreciation for things that matter to them by giving credit to others' accounts with ease. This could lead to the creation of towns with themes that are voted on, and then the winning theme is given credit then and in the future by creating a flag associated with the winning vote. It may be possible to show appreciation for anything by giving credit to the designer of a building or a town long after their design is constructed and inhabited. Or to give appreciation to a musical artist for their album beyond what they might charge for it themselves. Many artists just give their stuff away for free, and this is a way to give them credit or appreciation for their creations. It should be so easy to give credit to others that we should be able to do it without ever even knowing their name or even ever stopping to interact with them personally. One of the ways we can give credit to others easily is through profile laser tag. With Profile Laser Tag, we can see the profiles of anyone participating when they share their public profile in various ways. One new way of sharing our public profile might be in the form of a HUD-like mapping program that shows the profiles of people local to your environment. For example, a room full of people could show public profiles represented as bubbles on the map with pictures or avatars and varying levels of public profile information. It would be very easy then to get profile information, or send messages or credit to people based only on line of sight. This same set of technologies can be used to easily get a date by having the ability to send messages to people based on line of sight, and maybe even the ability to rewind time and to play back the profiles as they moved on the map. This same set of technologies can be used to stop human trafficking by playing profile laser tag with people who might not want to play by taking a picture of suspicious activity which sends an attached GPS location for the picture for immediate emergency review. This system stops human trafficking also by creating a civilization and a system where entire towns or special dance halls within a town can be dedicated to making relationships. People are not criminalized and separated for existing through the charging of rent, and by providing severe consequences for the physical violation of consent. There should be no excuse in this system to take advantage of others by force, since relationships with others are no longer held away from us as a commodity. Rooms are tools in this system and can be used for protection if needed simply by logging into any unoccupied room at your room level or under. One may want to keep a spare level 1 room account unused and on hand in case of emergencies. This would be the same as renting a hotel room, but someone could simply log into any unoccupied room at their room level or under wherever one is available. Consider a scenario where someone is fleeing an aggressor and can utilize any unoccupied room at their level or under as a tool with the ability to enter the room and shut and lock the door behind them. Consider a scenario where an unregistered child is being trafficked. Using any device, they are prompted to access their personal account. Upon not locating an account is immediately created and access is granted to any unoccupied level 1 room. If the structure has electronic doors, the child can then control the locks on the doors and wait for assistance. Otherwise, if the doors cannot be locked even though the room is claimed and the individual needs assistance, they can now still utilize the room and request immediate emergency assistance through any device with a connection. You can create tools and practices within the system that allow individuals to protect themselves. You can incentivize good deeds themselves and then let people turn in the jobs that they complete on their terms and the good deeds that they complete, such as saving a life or providing law enforcement for credit. Incentivizing morally correct action will in itself produce a more harmonious civilization. This system should come with an open source app that takes care of all of these things seamlessly. From voting to the exchange of credit to locating available rooms and jobs, to the management of our access keys and our public and personal profiles, while at the same time not requiring or forcing anyone to use the technology at all. It should not be necessary to interact with the technology more than just what is needed to have access to shared resources. If a person wanted to use just a physical house key, they still could while having just a basic profile in the system. The code for these tools should be open source, and there should not be any type of intrusion or surveillance other than the sharing of our chosen public profiles and achievements. Any part of the code for the apps and any part of the system can be challenged and upgraded by anyone at any time.